This is an ABC color presentation.
It's the Fembot, new from Kenner. And Jamie Summers, the Bionic Woman, sold separately.
I'm Jamie Summers.
Oh, no, you're not. I am. You're a Fembot.
Your paralyzer gave you away. She's unmasked me. Now I have to disguise myself as a mystery baby. No one will recognize me. Not even Jamie. Ha ha!
Fembot comes with everything seen here. Jamie Summers, the Bionic Woman, sold separately.
Hey, what time is it?
It's Podblast time! That's right, it's Podblast time. How are you, everyone? Live at Stellar Fest, the first annual Stellar Fest convention. I have a very special guest, Sandra Gimpel.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, I wish I could say this is a dream come true, but it's more like a nightmare come true. Let me explain. You know who she is, even if you don't think you do, especially if you're into classic sci-fi TV. She was the very first monster you saw in the aired version of the original Star Trek in the Man Trap. She was the salt vampire, the creature that had the suction cups. She was the lady in that outfit. I'll show you pictures in a little bit. She was also a Fembot. Yep. Now, I wasn't around in 1966. I was born in the 70s, but I certainly watched the Fembots, and they terrified me. You wore that mask.
Oh, yeah.
And you had the eyeballs. I mean, it was like kind of like a throwback to Westworld, the movie with Yul Brynner.
Yes.
And, geez. Oh, people are coming in. Try to find a quiet spot. Well, anyway, Sandra has a book. She's written all about her exploits in Hollywood, and I can really relate to her. Let me shut this door real quick. Sandra, why don't you tell people how you got started in show business?
Okay.
While I tend to that noise.
I was a dancer, and of course, my mom wanted me to be a teacher, but I tried that. Going to school to do that, but then I got a job dancing at Pacific Ocean Park in California, and it was like a theme park, and Westinghouse had a show that they sponsored there.
Live, folks. Okay. Really? And you work with Elvis too, right? There we go.
Yeah, I danced 15 pictures with Elvis Presley, and got very lucky. I mean, he just wanted me to be one of his 5 dancers, so I did that. And then when he did Change of Habit, and I stopped doing, when he stopped doing movies, I got a call to go over to Lost in Space and double Billy Mummy while they lit the lights and set the cameras. And usually all they care about is your height and your weight, you know, your coloring. And I walked in this room with 2 other girls that were up for the job, and there was 8 guys sitting at a table and started asking all these questions like, well, I understand you were a dancer, and how's your timing and your coordination? Have you ever hit the ground? And all these, I'm like, why do they want to know this? And one gentleman stood up. His name was Paul Stater, and he was our stunt coordinator, which I did not know at the time. And he said, would you like to do stunts? And I looked at him and said, what's a stunt? And they explained to me about hitting the ground and doing high falls. And he said, you come to the gym 3 days a week. I have a gym in Santa Monica. The stunt guys all come there. We'll teach you what to do, and you can double bill, and you can stand in for him and do the show. And I thought, sounds good to me, and never looked back.
That's interesting. I mean, because, of course, he's male, you're female, but it was all about the lighting, the coloring of your
the
skin.
height. That's all they cared about. But then when I started doubling him, it was, fine. In fact, Fox Studios loved it. They did tons of publicity on us, so the 2 of us, because they thought it was very cool that a girl was doubling a boy.
Interesting. And And you came along in season 2, you said, of Lost in Space.
Yeah, the second season.
The first color season.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah, and then
interesting.
state-
And you played some of the monsters in Lost in Space.
Oh yeah, I got to play the alien child in the zoo.
Yes, in the third episode of Day at the Zoo, third season episode rather.
Third
Day at the
season
Zoo.
Day Zoo, and I played the fly, and I can't remember what
The Galaxy being or something.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the
And
last
then-
episode of season 2.
okay,
In
and then
production order,
the
yeah.
one I was also in a cage that I can't think of the name of, but
It's not Galaxy being. That's an Outer Limits pilot. I'll look it up real quick. But I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt you. So you were that little fly creature with Jonathan Harris?
oh yeah, it was a big fly creature.
What was Jonathan Harris like to work
Oh, I loved him. He was a doll. His persona on television of being this mean, grumpy guy was a super nice person. He actually, my daughter came to the set with me a couple of times, and she was like 5 years old or 4 years old, and he would sit and read books with her.
Oh, cool.
When he wasn't busy. It was, yeah, he was.
The Galaxy Gift was the episode. I just remembered before. I didn't have to look it
Okay.
up. I'm getting older, so
So am I.
But it's amazing the things that you worked on, like Battlestar Galactica. You were the Ovion creature in
Yep,
the very
with the
first
4
1970.
arms.
Yes.
They
And
had,
so
like-
did you actually say the dialogue beneath the mask?
Yeah, we did. We had to, or I had to. And actually, that costume took 3 months to build because they had a guy from UCLA Prosthetics come over, and the second set of arms was strapped to your body, and you had to learn how to move your muscles to make the arms move. And I got so good, I could pick a glass of water up and drink it and put it down with the phony arm.
Whoa.
So-
anyone that's listening, I would encourage you to go to the Nostalgic Podblast YouTube channel so you can see a picture. But just Google Ovion Battlestar Galactica, listeners. But viewers can see it on the far right of your screen right now. And then also here you are with the salt vampire M113 creature in the first aired episode of Star Trek: The Man Trap, which was the sixth one in production. Or before that, you were a Telosian.
Yes, I was.
There you go. And now the arrow's pointing in the picture, anyone watching the video feed of this, to the wrong person. In that
Oh my
shot.
gosh. No, it's
but-
B on the right.
Yeah. And you worked with Meg Wiley. And tell us
Yes.
about the makeup. What was that thing they put on your head? The
Oh.
big misshapen head?
Yeah, what they did is they put a bald cap on your head, and then they put this silicone head on that had the veins running through it, and the veins were attached to a tube that went down your arm to a ball in your hand, an air ball, and you squeeze the air ball as the gentleman off stage would say the dialogue. So you kind of do it to the same speed that he was talking, and they had, if you look at the costumes on the Telosians, the sleeve lengths were very long because they wanted to cover up the fact that you were moving your hand.
Wow.
But, yeah.
That's incredible. And you also worked on other Irwin Allen projects, like the movies, like The Towering Inferno.
Yeah.
Wasn't Irwin good about being loyal to people that worked?
He was
for him?
amazing. What happened was, once you get, Paul Stater did everything for Irwin Allen, and he had his group of guys. And once I got established into that group, we just moved from one show to the next. Like for 5 years, we just worked. We did Towering Inferno. We did Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
What did you do for Voyage?
Voyage. Oh my gosh. We were in the ballroom where the glass elevators blow and the ship
Poseidon
turns
Adventure?
over. Oh, you're talking about Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah. Well, you said Voyage. That's what confused me.
Oh.
Poseidon Adventure. You did that first.
Yeah,
And
we did that
Irwin
first.
wasn't credited as a director, but he directed that big action scene.
Oh, yes, he did.
With all the flooding and
Yeah.
the water rushing.
He had a
into the
habit of
ballroom.
walking in and out of directing. He liked coming in. Sobe Martin was one of our directors on Lost in Space. And
Oh yeah.
Irwin would walk in, and Sobe would see him come in, and he'd go sit back in his director's chair and just let Irwin take over.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of funny. But then, when Irwin got tired of directing, he'd walk out, and Sobe would go back to work.
Wow. Did you work on the Voyage TV show, by the way, though? for
No,
Irwin?
we shot on stage 10 and stage 11, and Voyage shot on stage 10. So we were connecting stages.
And you're busy on Lost in Space too.
Yeah,
at
I
that
was
point in
busy. The only time that I actually had time off in that 3 years that I was on was 1 week when Star Trek called and said, "Do you have anybody that's not allergic to the silicone and stuff that we're putting on their face?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll give you Sandy. She can go. We don't need her next week." So that's how I got to do the Telosian. because a lot of people break out from that makeup.
Guys, I'm going to show her book. We'll talk about it later. I have it right here. Look at that. It's called Stunt Lady. I want to ask you, and we'll talk more about your book in a moment. But
Okay.
You broke new roads in terms of stunt work.
Yeah, I did.
In terms of your gender, would you please tell that story you told in the panel yesterday? I love that story about.
Well, okay. Basically, in the 80s, 70s, late 70s, the 80s, women weren't doing a lot of stuff. Guys were actually doubling women in the beginning. They were putting dresses on and doubling women until the Screen Actors Guild said, that's enough of that. You can't do that. And basically what happened was I was doing stunt work on a lot of shows, and a lot of shows you didn't need to have a stunt coordinator in those days. You could just coordinate yourself, or if you had one or two people, you could coordinate them, and they were fine with that. So I was coordinating a lot of little shows, and one of the shows that came up at Universal, Kate Mulgrew was doing Mrs. Columbo. Mm-hmm. And so they needed a stunt coordinator for the show, and I went and talked to them about it, and they kind of didn't want to hire a girl because one of the girls that was doing Charlie's Angels had gotten fired, and she had sued 20th Century Fox. So they were leery about hiring another woman because they might get sued again. Guys would get fired, they go get another job. They didn't think anything about it. But so anyway, I went in the office and told them I wanted to coordinate the show. And they kind of went, I don't know. But I said, what's the matter? Are you afraid to fire me? I said, I'll tell you what. If I do something wrong, you can take me by the ear, pull me in the office, and I'll quit. And he said, let me think about it. And he called me back and he said, okay, you can stunt coordinate the show. So 1 week into the show, we were shooting 7 days a week, and they couldn't finish the show. There was too much dialogue and too many stunts to get it all stuck in there. So what they do when they have that happen is they do a second unit with all the stunts. And I got called into the office and told they were going to hire somebody, Bob somebody or other, as I can't think of his name, he was a stunt guy, to direct second unit. And he wanted me on the set to help him because now I know the show and I can, kind of guide him. And I said, no, I want to direct second unit. Me and my big mouth. And they said, no, there's no way that you're going to be able to direct second unit. No stunt girls ever directed. So no, stunts wise, and we talked for a while, and I said, well, look, it's time for me to go home anyway. I'm going to go. I'll see you tomorrow, but I'm going to be on first unit. I'm not going to go to second unit, and I'm not going to help him. And walked to my car, and I got in my car and started to cry because I figured by that time I just blew the stunt coordinating job too. And 8 o'clock that night, my phone rang, and my production manager called me, and apparently he went to what they call the Black Tower at Universal,
right,
and stuck up for me, which I didn't know, but the phone rang. I'll never forget it. I answered the phone, and he said, Sandy? And I thought, uh-oh, because there was this dead silence. And I thought my next thing was, you're done. And he said, Black Tower, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., sign your contract. We're buying you your DGA card. And you're going to direct
Directors Guild of America.
Yes, sir. Directors Guild of America. So I broke glass ceilings for women and was the first stunt woman to get her director's card.
Because you stuck to your guns.
And I apparently
did a lot of guts.
Yeah, it took a lot of guts, I got to tell you. And that was one thing. I was never afraid to speak up and do what ask questions and do what I wanted to do. And broke glass ceilings for women because there's women directing second units and first units and everything else today. So I'm very blessed,
Absolutely.
very blessed.
So you started with 20th Century Fox and then segued, I guess, into the 70s into Universal. And then they used you, of course, as we said, in Battlestar. But the Fembot is my favorite thing you did. Because I remember watching that Halloween night, 1976. I'm 5 years old, and I was so scared. And you did all of the great scenes. Like you did the fight scene, for those who don't know, with Lindsay Wagner, the first time in the Callahan's apartment.
With Jennifer Darling. I doubled Jennifer Darling, who's played Callahan, the secretary. Yeah. And I did, every time she was a Fembot, it was me.
Yes.
And got thrown through the windows and got thrown across the table.
Fembots in Las Vegas.
Yep.
We watched that last night here. I brought my film projector and film prints. There was a big crowd, and we watched that. And I could actually see your face a couple times.
That's what you said.
Doubling as Callahan.
Yep.
There's a scene where Lindsay, as the Bionic Woman, throws a table
Yeah.
to Callahan's direction, and
Yep.
it's you. And the table hits you, and you go against the wall.
Right.
And you break the glass. So that's you breaking the
Yep.
glass. I love it. There's a huge glass. There's a guy.
Yep.
He has a condition similar. Well, his immune system's being broken down, so he has to stay basically like the boy in the plastic bubble in this big glass room.
Yeah.
He's a wealthy guy, right? And he can't get in contact with any germs. So the Fembots smash the glass.
Right. But there was one sitting in there where I didn't really smash it with my hand. What I had to do was hit the mini tramp and go through the window into the library. And they waited. They were shooting all day long, and the glass was made out of sugar glass. And it got very, very hot in there. And nobody thought about that. I hit the mini tramp and hit the window, and the window literally took a breath. It went like this and came back, and I slid off the wall. It didn't break because it had gotten rubbery. And stunt coordinator came over to me and said, it was Tony Brubaker, who was our stunt coordinator. He came over to me and said, stop looking at the glass. Stop worrying about hitting the glass. You see the bookcase way in the back of the other room? I want you to visualize that. The glass isn't there. Just go for the glass. Go for that bookcase. And I said, okay. And I did. I just went right through it without a problem.
Amazing. I can tell it's you now that I've seen you in person, like your shoulders. I can spot your shoulders. I see your body shape. I can tell. What about Lindsay's stunt double, Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman, Rita? Did you get on with her? Did you get along?
Rita Eggleston, yes. I loved Rita Eggleston. She was great. She did all the jumping and stuff for her, and they would reverse the film. You know, she would jump off the thing, and then they reversed it so she was jumping back up onto things.
Yes.
But
and sometimes you could see a mattress in the shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just in frame, barely.
Yeah. They
rarely.
We had boxes most of the time and mattresses over the boxes so that, they would collapse when you hit them and stuff. But we have airbags and stuff now. But yes, she was wonderful.
And
I
folks,
loved her.
Sandra Gimpel, our guest, is still working.
Yes, I am.
You're still working. I love that.
Yeah, I am. I'm working next week, actually, when I get home in California. So
can you talk about the project, or is that
probably not
non-disclosure agreement? Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I better not.
See, I do background work here. I had an agent. My agent retired, so now I'm back to square one. So I did like one stunt in Walking Dead with a squib shot in the head.
Oh, okay.
Deal. So I can really relate to you because there's so many wonderful things you've done that never got a credit. And I think it's funny how the business is. I understand it. I understand there's rules and union.
Yeah.
But I think you deserve a credit for being the Ovion and
TV.
a Fembot, But I know, and the fans know. That's why I'm so glad you're on here, so that the fans that watch my show, the Nostalgic Podblast, or listen to it, can get educated. This is an educational program.
I appreciate it. No, it's been a blessing to me, and I've been, I've had a long career, and like you say, I'm still working, and I love what I do. I mean, if people love their jobs as much as I love mine, I think we'd have a much happier world.
Yeah, you remind me of my mom in that, my mom is about your age and so much energy. Like, I think you're going to keep going beyond 100. I
pray to God.
Yeah, that's it. And could you quickly tell, I know we're running out of time, but the Fembot story, you told it in the panel yesterday where you're on the dam. This is from the episode of The Bionic Woman. It's the third part of a crossover with the $6 Million Man called Kill Oscar, parts 1, 2, and 3. Part 1 was a Bionic Woman episode. Part 2 was a $6 Million Man. Part 3 was the climax on the Bionic Woman.
Right.
Aired November 7th, 1976, early November, I think November 2nd. The second part was $6 Million Man Sunday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that make it November 4th, 1976. Anyway, you're playing a Fembot in the Army. Like you have a helmet. So not only are you wearing the robotic headpiece, but you have a helmet on top of that.
A whole helmet with face covering and everything on.
And the plot is this mad scientist has a weather control device. So he is lightning strikes to hit the top of the dam to stop our heroes, the $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman, and you're chasing them.
Yes.
And the lightning strikes, the Fembots attract the lightning.
Right. Was Jeannie Epper and myself were running around the dam, and the lightning hits, your back goes up in flames, and you go, as soon as you feel the heat, you go down on the ground and you slap out. So they come in with the fire extinguishers to put out the fire. which all is normal and easy, except this time what happened, the smoke from the fire extinguisher came up under the helmet, between the mask and the helmet, and then got into the mask, and you couldn't breathe. And you're laying on the ground, you can't talk, you can't get your breath to even talk, and you're trying to get this helmet off, and it won't come off. And they finally realized what was going on, and they helped us get the helmets off, and we had to literally rip the masks off to catch your breath. It was crazy. It was really crazy.
That's very dangerous.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
And then you also told a story about you were always taught to check the rigging.
Yeah. And
that saved your life because they encourage you not to check the rigging. Oh, we know what we're doing. Yeah. And you said, nope, we got to check it.
Yeah.
Can you quickly tell that?
When I was growing up in the business from Lost in Space and on, the top stunt guys took a liking to me, and I'd been working out with them, at the gym and stuff. And they told me, you don't sit in your dressing room. I don't care whatever you're doing. It's not time for you to work. You don't go to your dressing room. You go, if they're rigging any kind of a stunt, a car, anything, high falls, go watch, learn. And if you have questions, wait till they're not busy, and then go and ask, how did you do this? Or why did you do this? Whatever it is you don't understand, or how did you do this? So I did that. I listened to what they said, and I watched all of that. And it came to a couple of spots where you go on the set, and they say, okay, we're ready to shoot. Are you dressed? We're going to do a rehearsal now. And I go, well, wait a second. The motorcycle's 100 feet in the air, and it's going to drop and explode. And Bruce Boxleitner's going to swing over and grab me, and we're going to swing back. I want to go see how it's rigged.
There you go.
And he went, no. We've got a professional mountain climber. He rigged it. It's all taken care of. It's 100, it takes too long for you to get up there. So I'm not getting on the rig. And they were not happy with me. And I said, guys, you want to fire me? I don't care, but I'm not getting on that rig unless I see it and see if I'm happy with this. My life up there, not yours. And they finally said, okay. And I got Gary Epper, who was doubling Bruce, and said, come with me. We're going up to look at this. And he said, okay. And they had the eye hook, a huge eye hook in the ground, the rappelling line tied to it, the trip with the bike tied to it. So basically what happens is the bike drops and explodes, and we swing back. Well, we go back. There's no backup ties on the rappelling line. That's it. So there was a tree close enough and enough rope that we were able to take the rappelling line and wrap it around the tree and double tie it. Went back down. I got up. They put me in a cherry picker, put me on the rig. Gary got on the rappelling line. He swang over and grabbed me. The bike drops and explodes, and we should swing back like this. We swang back like that. And you're 100 feet in the air, try holding onto shale, literally holding onto shale, and it's coming off of your hands. And you're going, you look down, and it's interesting. When something goes wrong, time slows down. It feels like it's eternity. And I remember looking down at the crew and yelling, get us down. And you're trying to hold on, and you can't. And you forgot about the backup tie. Just, you don't think about that. And it looked like the crew was standing there with their mouth open, with their heads up in the air. Ooh. And Gary yelled, and everybody moved. I mean, it was a matter of seconds. It wasn't what it felt like. They got us down, and they went and looked. Eye hook came out of the ground. So what saved us was our backup tie.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Now, you mentioned you doubled for Jennifer Darling. Did you double for her on the show called The Fall Guy about stunt people, starring Lee Majors? Because she was in several fight scenes.
Several of the Fall Guys.
You did? See, I have every episode of that show on 16mm film, reel-to-reel film.
Do you really?
Do you remember? Please tell me a Fall Guy story. I know we're going a little over time here, but I don't want to take away from you.
God. I did
Lee Majors, did he treat you right?
I did so many Fall Guys.
Wow.
Mickey Gilbert, who I mentioned before, my mentors, was the stunt coordinator on the show. And there's one where I forgot what I was doing. I was running, and a car comes at me, and I almost get hit by the car, and I turn and I climb up the side of the stage, and then somebody's got the rope and they're trying to cut the rope.
Yes, you were probably doubling for Dana Hill. Do you know that she's no longer with? See, yes, that's
and
P.S. I Love You season 2 Fall Guy.
My gosh, I don't have a memory like that. Well, anyway,
I'm a geek.
But I forgot Mickey's up there. I think he's chasing me up the thing, and we're both of us at the top of the stage.
And Dana Hill's short, like we are, you and I.
Well,
like,
he's not. No,
but the woman you were doubling.
Oh, the woman I was doubling was definitely.
She sadly passed, by the way, in 1996 from complications of diabetes. But anyway,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I totally derailed your story. I'll shut up.
But anyway, he and I were at the top, and we go backwards together to the airbag below. And there's one thing about when you go together hand in hand, you have to leave exactly the same time, because if you don't, and one person hits the airbag and then the other hits the airbag, you're going to bounce out the other person because the air is now depleting. And we counted and we both left, and you can see my left foot dragging as it went, but it worked out fine. I mean, he hit the airbag and I hit the airbag. It was like bum bum, where it should have been together, but it worked out perfect.
Beautiful. Yeah. And the one with Jennifer Darling on Fall Guy, there was a roundhouse kick. Do you remember doing that?
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's a little too specific. I mean, like you were doubling for somebody getting kicked in the face. Okay,
yeah,
I guess
I probably did that. Well, I'm a 4th degree black belt, so I can do all of that. Say that again.
4th degree black belt.
Yeah, in Taekwondo.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, I did. You guys probably all know Billy Blanks. I've heard of him. He was my sensei, and he invented Taibo. And that's what I still do today. I do Taibo with his sister Irene and Michael, his brother, and work out about 4 days a week.
We have a lot of people watching live. Kay Munin, I think he's in Florida, says, when it comes to people's safety, it's best to double and triple check equipment and setups.
Absolutely.
To your point. And talking about your horror as a fembot, almost getting suffocated on the dam set, having to wear so much stuff must have gotten very hot and uncomfortable.
Always. All the monster costumes are very warm and very uncomfortable. That's for sure.
Do you have a story, a favorite story or favorite stunt that you did?
My favorite stunt, which you're going to, I love, there's more than one, but Airplane was incredible.
Oh, yes, the airplane story. Airplane. The Zucker, yes.
I played the Girl Scout fight in the bar on Airplane. And normally girls were doing hair pulling and, running up, falling on the floor and tumbling. And Jerry Zucker, our director, said, I want a boy fight. I want a knockout, drag out fight. And that's what we ended up doing. And it was so much fun. It was great. That made the
joke.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So that was one of my favorite stunts. And one I did with Sacha Baron Cohen, he won the BAFTA Awards a few years ago. And it was a live audience, live show, and nobody knew what was going to happen. And I played a 104-year-old woman, 3.5, 4 hours of makeup. And I was Selma Hayek wheels me out onto the stage, and she doesn't even know, she thought I was old. And she kept saying, are you all right, darling? And I'm going, fine. And I have a cane that was supposedly Charlie Chaplin's. I hand it to him and tell him that he would love to have you have it. He kisses me on the cheek. He twirls the thing, leans on it. It breaks. He hits the wheelchair, and I go flying off the stage into the audience. And no pads on the floor. And it was incredible. I mean, it was hard not to laugh once I hit the ground, because it was truly fun. Because first you hear everybody kind of go, and then they realize it's Sacha Baron Cohen. It has to be a joke. So, yeah. And then he goes on, comes down, and he talks about me, tries to give me mouth to mouth. And my stunt coordinator picks me up on his shoulder and walks around. What do I do with her? So we had a lot of fun.
I mean, I just don't think it's fair that you don't get residuals for some of this great work you did. I mean, maybe you're at another level now that you're in the guild, I suppose.
You always got residuals. It's just that you don't get recognition, right. and like the Academy doesn't give you stunts recognition at all.
But you said that might change.
Well, they're trying very hard to have it change. Jack Gill works very hard, one of our top stunt guys, and Ryan Gosling's been really pushing for it also. And if you saw the Oscars this last year, every commercial was stunts.
Yeah, and
So
the
it's
Super Bowl.
like they're pushing it at the Academy, going, "See, look."
Yeah, and the Super Bowl as well. They're alive.
Yeah.
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 Very cool. Well, how can people find your book? And I bought her book, by the way. I insisted because, she deserves, she's worked so hard her whole life. So, I don't want you to think that I just got this as a gimme. No, I paid, and you should buy this too. It's a great read. Look at all the photos. And that's the cover I have on the screen. I want to show you. And you wrote this yourself. No ghostwriter.
Nope, I wrote it all by myself. The only thing I did is I had somebody check the spelling because I can't spell. I can jump off buildings, but I can't spell. But yeah.
All right, I'm going to just give people a sample. That's a funny picture in the back. You're hilarious. There's Jonathan and June, loaded with photos. I don't want to show everything.
It's got a ton of photos in there. All the shows I did, I was able to find photos for most of them.
And you said on the panel that Bill Mooney, Will Robinson himself, said if you have a problem getting
From
the
the
rights
license
to some of
stuff,
these or
yeah,
license,
to
you
talk to
him.
him. Yeah, he would take care of it for me.
There she is.
Because he and I are good
Obi-Wan,
friends.
Lost in Battlestar Galactica, almost said Lost in Space. Oh my gosh. Just what a great book. I can't wait to read it. How can people find and order your book? What's the website?
All you have to go to my name, sandragimpel.com, and it comes right up.
All right. And would you sign this for me? Richard Anderson
Absolutely.
signed that.
I will, for sure.
Here you go.
You got the pen?
I have a pen right here.
Okay.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Oh, sure.
Let me change the camera shots. People, I want to capture this iconic moment. I mean, you are an incredible treasure.
Oh, thank you.
So grateful. Let me,
Chance.
Chance. That's right. I'm Chance.
I know. Is this going to show up in the dark up here?
I can see it. You're fine.
Oh, here, you know what?
Oh, you mean the pen because it's purple? Well,
Here, it's okay.
It's my fault because I chose a purple pen like a dummy. In last call for any questions for Sandra, we're going to sign off. She's got to get back. But Sandra Gimpel, Stunt Lady, is the name of her book.
There you go.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor to meet you. Let me see any questions. Last call because she's got to go. Oh, I'm sorry. You're fine. No, that's my fault. And God, I mean, any other movies you did that I might not know of? I mean, you probably did a ton. Here we go.
I really do have to go back.
Okay. Well, I'm going to sign off now. Good night, everybody. Please get her book. It's right there. Stunt Lady. This is Sandra Gimpel. And we'll see you next time on the Nostalgic Podblast.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Bye.